Let me start from the beginning of my life. It's very important because I think that's a proof. That's a proof of how God started working in my life before even I was born. My mom could not give a birth to me. I was upside down, and it was a communist times, so really doctors didn't care that much for their patients. The doctor that was supposed to look after my mom was asleep, and there was no one who could disturb him, even my mom giving a birth to me. So my mom thought that she will die because and she didn't know that I'm in a wrong position in her stomach. So she prayed the first prayer ever in her life. She said, "God, if I survive that night and if this baby will be healthy, I will start going to the church, and I will make sure that this baby will know you." And after she prayed that prayer, I literally moved in her stomach, and she started giving a birth to me. And my mom kept her promise. She went to the church, to a Protestant church. She got baptized when I was little, and I started going to the Sunday school. So sometimes I joke to my mom that she was the first person that I brought to Christ. and the beginning of my life was, as far as I remember, wasn't easy, because my mom was a newborn Christian, but my dad wasn't. He was an abusive alcoholic. He would drink a lot. So our life was a nightmare. I wasn't sure what's gonna happen at home, if he's gonna beat us, if he's gonna throw things around the house. And there was a night, I was maybe 13 years old, when my dad was so drunk that he started planning how to kill my mom out loud. He locked the door in the apartment, so my mom couldn't run away. It was late at night, and I never forget that she ran into our rooms, to my and my brother's room, and she started shouting, on your knees, pray that we will survive." And so we got up, and I will never forget my mom running around the house and shouting, "Jesus, in your name, Jesus, in your name, I pray that you will help me, that you will do something. In your name, I pray." And I will never forget, the sound of drawers in the kitchen. He was looking for knives, to kill my mom. And I will never forget, it was in 89 and 90. It was after the fall of communism in our country, but nobody had alarm in their cars. We just didn't have these things in our country. And my dad had an old car standing outside, and it didn't have engine inside. But you know what happened? The alarm of that car went on. It didn't have alarm, and it didn't have engine. The car started it was just a long horn sound, outside, all the neighbors, were so upset that it's too loud to press the horn, but it could not, that was a miracle. And my dad thought that someone is trying to steal his car. So he dropped everything, he opened the door, and he ran downstairs, and he stayed all night under the car, sleeping under the car, thinking that someone is trying to steal his car. My mom locked the door behind his back and got rescued us that night. So this is like the strongest memory I have from my childhood, that God was always faithful and He would come in just the right moment, So even though my life wasn't always perfect, I would remember that God is my dad, that God is loving and caring, and even though I did wrong things or I sinned, I would always go back to Him. But I remember when I was at church, that was the safest place for me. That was the only place for me as a little girl, where I felt secure, where I felt loved, and I really wanted to be there all the time. And maybe when I was 5 years old, I remember our Sunday school teacher asked question, what would you like to do in the future? What's your dream? And I remember, and she still remembers my answer. I said, if I could do anything in my life, I would love to be pastor's wife. She was a pastor's wife, that Sunday school teacher. And the dream of a little girl came true. After years, I had the chance to marry a man that loved God and a man who wanted to serve God. When I was growing, my surname is Domżalska, which is in a literal translation into English, it's a house of sorrow. That was my surname for all these years. And whenever I started learning English, and I remember someone asked me even question, what's your favorite word in English? I would always say lighthouse, because I always loved that combination of two words in one word, lighthouse. And there was an amazing story, there was a time in my life when I prayed to God that He will give me something special just for me, And I strongly felt in my heart that this is it, that I need to go somewhere to see a lighthouse, And to make the long story short, I traveled to one of the places to see the lighthouse, and I walked inside, and there was this old lantern standing in the middle of the lighthouse, and it had my name on it, Aga. This is like a shortened version of my name, Aga. And I said, God, what are you trying to tell me? And then I realized that God is changing my name, like disciples. He changed the names to the disciples, and He was telling me that you are no longer living in a house of sorrow, because you are my daughter. You are in the light of the house. You are the lighthouse. So some friends call me sometimes Mrs. Lighthouse.